What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to be talking a little bit more about free agents. We talked about quarterbacks. Now I want to talk a little bit about running backs and what we can kind of expect from that market, or what I'm looking at, the guys I want us to go after. There's a crazy amount of names here on this running back list. And of course, we have Jonathan Taylor, so we don't need high-end talent, but what we're looking for is somebody that can come in, be a real number two running back, somebody that can come in, catch the ball out of the backfield, somebody that can obviously come in, be able to still make some of the same plays. JT's different. Not everybody's going to make the plays that he does, but to be able to be effective, right? And of course, Tyler Goodson, we re-signed him. He's going to come in. He's going to be a part of that. And then beyond that, I know Salvin Ahmad is still in the building, but of course, where he is, you don't really want him playing. So the list, you have guys like Aaron Jones, Najee Harrison. Some of these guys could go easily back to the teams that they were on. Like Najee could stay with the Steelers, but this is just the guys that are free agents right now. So you have Aaron Jones, Najee Harris, A.J. Dillon's on this list, Nick Chubb, Javonte Williams from Denver, which is an interesting choice, Alexander Madison, Nyheim Hines is out there, J.K. Dobbins, once again a free agent, Samaje Perine, Kareem Hunt. Cam Akers showed that he's still got some wheels on him. Then as you go down the list a bit, a lot of names that most people probably honestly wouldn't know. But then you have Kenneth Gainwell, going to be a free agent. Elijah Mitchell, if you know that name, from the Niners. Well, one of the names at the bottom that's a very interesting choice is Kahlil Herbert down here at the bottom. And with all these names, and in this big list is a list of 44 guys in free agency that the Colts have to choose from to come in and be that number two behind Anthony Richardson, make a 1-2 punch. And here's where I'm at. Okay, I think the running back market they've been obviously very devalued. When you look at what they did this year, though, that could change, right? Derrick Henry going to a new team has an incredible season, and the Baltimore Ravens had a lot of success. Obviously, they lose to the Bills in the divisional round, but nonetheless make it to the playoffs, have a good season. Derrick Henry did great. And then when you look also at Saquon Barkley, made it to the Super Bowl his first year out of the Giants, finally. Put him on a good team, put him behind a good offensive line, and he's carrying that team to a Super Bowl. Obviously, that defense is really good too, but nonetheless, Saquon Barkley going nuts. Like some of the running, Jonathan Taylor having a good year, and being able to have a good year for a team that only had 7 wins. Like, I think the running backs did their thing this year. They did themselves a solid, and it seems like some of these high-priced running backs made a point to go to really good teams they could trust to be able to run the ball, and they were able to be effective and show like, hey, this is our value. The running backs got together a couple years ago to discuss it. It just feels like there was a little bit of strategy played into it. Of course, these guys are getting older. They want to go win and try to win a Super Bowl too, but I think what the market has been, it's going to go up. The whole point of this is that it's going to go up, right? So I think when you look at, last year, the most high-priced person on the list that we named is, of course, Aaron Jones, who last year for the Vikings, 1 year, $7 million. And for a veteran guy that's had 1,000 yards multiple times, a guy that is versatile and can catch the ball out of the backfield to make one year, $7 million. It's crazy how undervalued these guys are. And I think you can still get a guy like Aaron Jones for undervalue, which is why when you look at the salary cap, obviously there are different moves to make, and not completely at the point of, hey, this is how I want to construct a team and what the contracts might look like. We're not at that point yet, but when just looking at the options, this is who I've narrowed it down to. Okay, now I'll go with the first option. First option, 2025 draft. Just go draft a guy. There are a lot of running backs coming out. We'll go through that list at some point in the near future. Right now, I want to touch on free agents because free agency comes before the draft, of course, and free agency not that far away in all reality. So I want to go ahead and start touching base on this. We'll talk about the draft soon, but there's a lot of guys coming out in this draft. I know Travion Henderson and Cam Scatterboo, two of the guys that are really going to lead the way in that and going to be high draft picks. I'm not sure. Ashton Jeanty, maybe. I think he's coming out, right? So Ashton Jeanty should be on that list. So maybe we go in the draft for running back, but I know a lot of people think that the Colts should be going a lot of defense in the draft. So if you think we should go defense in the draft and get one of the free agents, these are the options that, again, I've narrowed it down. Maybe in the list that I named, you have your options, and I hope you let me know who you think the best option would be. But the guys that I whittled it down to, option one for me in terms of free agents is going to be Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones, 30 years old. So obviously, being over 30, there's a little bit that comes with that, right? The price for him is going to be a little lower because of his age, but we saw this year, like, Aaron Jones can still make plays, very capable, not quite as explosive as he used to be, but he still has the explosiveness. He's still very good football player, like very good running back. And it just feels like the one thing with him, we just might not have a chance at him because he wants to go somewhere and be a starter. He wants to go somewhere and win a Super Bowl, and Anthony Richardson's unproven and obviously has things to fix. That's really what's going to make it difficult to get any of the high price guys like that, guys that should be starters but accept a dual role. But I think about the Lions. I think about what they've been able to do with David Montgomery. Obviously, they draft Jahmyr Gibbs, but they get two really good running backs. And I mean, they've lost in the playoffs, but nonetheless, they're winning a lot of games. They're making the playoffs. They're doing it behind an incredible offensive line. Like, at the end of the day, the Lions really been able to put it together. Obviously, Jared Goff, an incredible season from him until that playoff game when he started having a bunch of interceptions. And that's what really cost the Lions, not the run game, right? The run game was there for him all year. And so I think with Jonathan Taylor as good, like, he showed he's still Jonathan Taylor, like, at different parts of the year and especially to end the season against bad teams. But he did what he was supposed to do against bad teams, and he ran wild, man. He went crazy. Ended up, fourth in the league, I believe, in terms of rushing yards by the end of the season. 1,300-yard year, I believe it was, on the ground. So just a really good season by Jonathan Taylor. You put him and Aaron Jones together, and again, him being able to catch the ball. A very long track record of Aaron Jones being a guy coming out of the backfield catching passes. That's why in fantasy football, that's why his value has always been so high, because he can catch the ball coming out of the backfield, right? So I think getting him and spending the money on him would be incredible. Now, again, what does that look like? What's that contract looks like? 1 year, $7 million for the Vikings. What will that look like going forward? And will he be worth that price? That's what we're going to look at as we go forward. Going to look into everything and try to figure out if that really is the right fit in terms of the player and the price. Okay, and then the next guy that I have on the list is a guy that we've talked extensively about here on this channel in the past. That name is Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt went to the Chiefs, showed that he can still do it. He's still doing it, man. He just scored a touchdown in the AFC Championship game. I believe the first touchdown in the AFC Championship game to get things kicked off there. So Kareem Hunt, when he was asked to be a number one for the Chiefs, I mean, he produced. He was on my fantasy team. Trust me, he produced. Is he explosive? No, but he's a really good veteran, a guy that's had some really good time in the NFL, and a guy that if you bring in behind Jonathan Taylor, again, pass catcher out of the backfield. He has that ability. He did that on the Browns behind Nick Chubb. He's done that his whole career. That's what made him so valuable in fantasy when he was on the Chiefs the first time. Is because he got used in that role, catching the ball out of the backfield. Like, Kareem Hunt is a do-it-all back, and he can be a bruiser too. Goal line. Put him at the goal line and save Jonathan Taylor some abuse. Right? Like, you can do that. And he's a guy at the start of next season, he's going to be right around 30. During the season next year, he'll be 30. So that's common theme with the guys we're talking about, right? It's either a guy in the draft or one of these older guys. But Kareem Hunt, just going to the Chiefs, obviously he wasn't there the entire season, but made $1.21 million. Obviously would be a cheap option. It's going to be more expensive than that. Of serviceable running back, a guy that you're going to bring in, even though he's a veteran. Again, the running back market, I think, should tick up a little bit. And with what we're going to be asking from him, and because we're going to have to pay more to get free agents, just the way it is, we're going to have to pay more to get free agents in the building than we need to. Kareem Hunt, I think he could be an option. I think he could be a pretty good option there. And having him and Jonathan Taylor working together would be incredible. And then one that kind of excites me, one that you can keep together, a duo you can keep together for a few years, is going to be Jonathan Taylor paired up with Kahlil Herbert. Kahlil Herbert, you formerly on the Bears, this year on Cincinnati. I believe maybe he was traded this year. I can't remember how that situation worked out, but nonetheless, his contract $902,000. So, and that might be his rookie contract. He's about to be 27 years old. So going into 2025, he will be 27 years old. So not 30 yet, kind of in the prime of his career right now, prime of his life right now. And so I think bringing Kahlil Herbert in, and again, a theme with these guys, the versatility, catching the ball out of the backfield while also having the explosiveness, being able to hit a gap, being able to make a cut, being able to make somebody miss. I think Kahlil Herbert has that ability. Why the Browns didn't keep him is really a huge question to me. I know it's a huge question to a lot of people that I know, especially a lot of people in the fantasy world. It's like, what? We just don't. What's the point of getting rid of Kahlil Herbert? The offensive line's been so bad for the Bears for so long, and he was still putting up numbers on terrible teams. So I think the same thing with Saquon, right? You put Saquon on a great team, and he becomes great. Now, Kahlil Herbert's not going to go from what he is to being Saquon. Saquon was always meant to be special, was just put on a terrible team and in a terrible situation, which really shows that when you're drafting somebody, man, the situation matters so much. Looking at Washington as well, that was a dumpster fire. All of a sudden, a bunch of new blood in the building. All of a sudden, new quarterback, and it's a whole different vibe, just like that, right? So this is a situation where I think you bring Kahlil Herbert in. We have a good offensive line. Bring him in, and you're not going to see massive drop-off. Like Jonathan Taylor's Jonathan Taylor, so he's a different level. But Kahlil Herbert's not going to be all the way at the bottom like Trey Sermon. He's not going to be Trey Sermon level. He's above that. So I think Kahlil Herbert would also be a good option. I think as I look through this list, there's some other guys that I really thought about putting here. I think A.J. Dillon is interesting. I think Javonte Williams wouldn't be a terrible option. Samaje Perine wouldn't be a terrible option. Like, there are definitely guys on this list that I look at and I say, oh, that wouldn't be so bad, honestly. And but what I'm thinking, again, the four choices that we're gonna have here is gonna be the 2025 draft: Aaron Jones, Kareem Hunt, or Kahlil Herbert. So you take your pick. You let me know in the comment section. Also going to put out a poll. Probably going to put out a poll tomorrow about the running backs and continue to get your guys' opinion. But again, make sure you let me know what you're thinking about this list down in the comment section. Who do you think we should get to be a real serviceable backup behind Jonathan Taylor? I'd love to hear what you guys are thinking. Make sure you hit that like button. One of the best things you can do for this channel. Hit that like button if you enjoy the content. And of course, make sure you're subscribed, have notifications on so you continue to get notified anytime any more content drops on this channel. Of course, appreciate you stopping by for another video. As always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.